Have you been considering moving to Pollock Pines, but you're not quite sure if it's right for your family? Then this video is for you. I'm going to go over 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines, California. By the end of this video, you should know whether Pollock Pines is right for your family or not. Now look, Pollock Pines is an amazing place to live. It's nature's wonderland. It is beautiful. It is in the pines, and I've long said that Pollock Pines has everything that's great about South Lake Tahoe for half the price. They have the pine trees, they have the beautiful mountains, the trails, and the beautiful lake, all at half the price of South Lake Tahoe. So there is a lot to recommend Pollock Pines. But let's face it, no place is perfect. And if you're thinking about making a move here, you've got to know the negatives as well as the positives so you can decide if there's a deal breaker on this list for your family. So let's get right into the 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines. Reason number 1 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is it snows here a lot. People don't really know that. People don't think of it as such, but Pollock Pines is actually at 4,000 foot elevation to about 4,500 foot elevation above sea level, depending on where you are in town. To put that into perspective, the town of Camino, just one bump down the hill at just about 3,000 feet above sea level. That's our snow line. So at 4,000 to 4,500 feet above sea level, you get a fair bit of snow. When you get a real storm in a real winter, you can have 4-foot snow drifts that stick for 2 weeks or more up there. It's legitimate snow. It's living in the snow, and it comes with all the daily inconveniences of living in the snow, like shoveling out your driveway or using a snow blower, having to use 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive to get in and out during the storms, having to think about whether you're going to be able to get in or out to work on some days, having your kids have snow days from school, which the kids love, but as a parent can be kind of challenging if your work isn't real flexible for you to be able to take care of those kids on those snow days. So people think Pollock Pines is still kind of the foothills, but it really isn't. That is a transition point where you are turning into the real mountains, and there's real snow, and that snow has real consequences for your daily life. So if you don't want to live in snow country, if you don't want to actually have to deal with snow, then Pollock Pines isn't for you. You should look in Placerville, where it snows maybe 2 to 3 times a year on a really bad or good, depending on how you look at it, winter, and it's just enough to have fun with, but not enough to inconvenience your life. Or maybe Camino, where it might inconvenience your life in the 2 biggest storms of the year, but not in every storm. If you're living in Pollock Pines, snow is going to inconvenience your life for each and every storm, and it's something you have to know. Now, if you've been looking to move to the mountains and have that cabin in the mountains feel and live in the snow, then Pollock Pines is definitely for you. But no matter how you slice it, if you don't like snow, Pollock Pines isn't the place for your family. Hey, if you're getting anything at all out of this video, hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video with crucial information to help you with your relocation to Dorado County. Now, back to our list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines. Reason number 2 you may not want to move to Pollock Pines is because it can be really dark there. There are some really, really tall pine trees. Like I said, you're in the mountains, you're in the pines. And when you're in that thick pine forest, depending on how people have made the neighborhoods, laid out the neighborhoods, or laid out the siding for the house, and depending on which way the house faces, you can have some houses that are in some pretty dark holes up there. Now, what does that mean? That means not a lot of daylight or natural light coming into the house during the day, which can feel a little sad or depressing sometimes. It also means that the snow lasts longer and doesn't melt off as quickly and is a pain in your backside for longer. So when you're looking around in Pollock Pines, one of the big things to pay attention to is there a lot of natural light in this home? Or am I in one of these deep, dark holes in the pines? And how am I going to feel about that in the middle of winter when I haven't seen daylight in a while? Now, look, it's not Alaska, of course. We have daylight and we have nighttime here. We're not that far north. But when you're in these dark little holes in Pollock Pines, it can actually really feel pretty dark throughout the winter. And if you're the type of person that gets affected by that sort of thing, it's something you should really pay attention to and make sure you're looking for a more open lot, a higher up lot, maybe a view lot, or a home that just was sited correctly and has a lot of windows facing towards the daylight. Something to pay attention to in Pollock Pines, something that my clients have mentioned a lot over the last 20 years. Some of these places in Pollock Pines are just in a deep, dark hole, and that can be a little rough in the winter. So if you don't like dark homes and dark winters, it might not be the place for you. Right about now, you're wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me about Pollock Pines, real estate, or anything at all, really, and that's a fair question. My name is Rich Curtis, and I've been selling homes up here in Dorado County for over 20 years now, in markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. So when it comes to Dorado County real estate, I've got you covered. My goal with this channel is to help you make the highest quality real estate decisions you can from the comfort of your couch. So to that end, let's jump right back into our list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines, California. Reason number 3 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is that there really are no jobs here to speak of. There's, a couple of normal retail jobs at the grocery store or the gas station or the hardware store, but that's it. It is a little mountain town. There's one grocery store, there's one hardware store, there's one gas station, there's a couple of restaurants, there's an elementary school and a middle school, and that's about it. If you're not employed in any of those places and you're not self-employed, then you're leaving town, you're commuting, and it's kind of a ways out there, so it can be a big commute from Pollock Pines. Pollock Pines isn't the place that you relocate to looking to find a job there. You relocate to Pollock Pines because you want to live in the mountains, and you either have a job that you can work from home, or you already have a job lined up and you're okay with the commute. There really isn't a robust job market here in Pollock Pines. Reason number 4 that you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is it's kind of far away from everything. As you can see here on the map on your screen, Pollock Pines is pretty far out there from any of the major metro areas near it. It is nearly an hour from Sacramento, and it is even 20-25 minutes just from the town of Placerville, which is the next nearest town where you're going to find anything big like a Walmart or America's Tires, a Target, anything like that. So it's 20 to 25 minutes just to get some decent local shopping in, and an hour down to Sacramento. More in peak traffic times. Can be an hour and 15, hour and a half easily with traffic from Pollock Pines to anywhere in the Sacramento area for work. Now, east of Pollock Pines, there's for the most part nothing until you hit South Lake Tahoe and the state line with Nevada. You've got Myers, South Lake Tahoe, and that's about it up there. When you go west, downhill, of course, you hit all the little foothills towns, Camino, Placerville, Shingle Springs, El Dorado Hills, and then the county line with Sacramento. But it is a ways away from all of that, and you have to use Highway 50 to get there. Now, when you're going downhill on Highway 50, it's not bad. It's a multi-lane highway, and it can move pretty good. If you're going uphill towards Tahoe, Highway 50 outside of Pollock Pines, by outside I mean east, very quickly drops down to a 2-lane, one in each direction, country road on the edge of a cliff on the South Fork of the American River, and you're not going anywhere very fast going that direction. Now, if you're commuting for work, if you've got kids in sports, or once your kids are in high school, because Pollock Pines doesn't have a high school, so you have to go down to Placerville for that. You're going to be coming in and out of there a lot of times a day, and it can be 15 to 20 minutes just to get to Highway 50, depending upon where you live in Pollock Pines. Like I said, it's an hour or more to Sacramento, but that's once you hit Sly Park Road and Highway 50. If you live out past Jenkinson Lake, it could take you 15 to 20 minutes to get to the highway, and then your hour plus to get down to Sacramento. So no matter how you slice it, if you're moving to Pollock Pines, you better like a little bit of windshield time. You better like listening to some music or some podcasts and spend a lot of time in the car, because it is that bump further out, and you're going to spend a fair bit of time in the car living in Pollock Pines. Reason number 5 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is because the roads are windy. Now, we just talked in the last segment about how you're going to spend a lot of windshield time. You're going to be doing a lot of driving if you're living in Pollock Pines. And most of that driving until you get to Highway 50 is on windy 2-lane country roads. And if you go east on Highway 50, it'll continue to be on windy 2-lane country roads for the most part until you hit South Lake Tahoe. So if you're living out here in Pollock Pines, it's a lot of windy road driving. And then you add in the snow, and it's windy road driving in slippery, wet, snowy conditions. And that just isn't for everybody. I grew up with that kind of driving. I actually really enjoy it. I don't mind driving through a good storm. I find it fun. But for a lot of people, it's really, really stressful. My wife would choose to never, ever move to a place like Pollock Pines because she does not ever want to get stuck having to drive the kids to school through a snowstorm or drive to work through a snowstorm. It would just be too stressful. She wouldn't like it. It's not the place for her. So if you don't like driving on windy country roads, and you especially don't like driving on windy country roads in bad weather, then you should really think twice about moving to Pollock Pines. It might not be for you. Reason number 6 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is because of the high cost of homeowners insurance in Pollock Pines, specifically due to fire danger, the fire portion of your homeowner's insurance. Now look, this isn't just a Pollock Pines problem. It's going to be a problem in Placerville and Shingle Springs. It's going to be a problem anywhere here in the foothills and actually all over the state. This is going to be a problem in the Oakland Hills. This is now going to be a problem down in Malibu. We are just a month or two out from the LA fires as I record this, and that's going to change the whole landscape of the cost of homeowners insurance in the LA basin as well. So this is something we deal with throughout the state of California, and the problem's not going away. So what does it look like in terms of actual dollars and cents cost to try to get homeowners insurance in Pollock Pines? Well, for the most part, you're going to end up on the California Fair Plan. And there's a lot of misconceptions about the California Fair Plan. If you check my Informed Homebuyer podcast on the channel, I've got 2-3 episodes on the California Fair Plan that explain all this for you. But the California Fair Plan is not a state-sponsored insurance program. It's just that every broker in the state has to contribute funds to write policies for places that don't fall within their traditional insurance guidelines. And you, if you live in the Pollock Pines area, are probably going to be on the Fair Plan and tapping into that insurance program. And it only covers the dwelling. So you have to get an additional policy called the DIC policy to cover all the rest of the things that might affect the home: floods or mudslides or all of your personal property coverage. So you really have 2 coverages. So when I'm quoting you right now, ballpark estimates of what your annual insurance premiums are, this is for the total coverage, both of those policies, your Fair Plan policy and your DIC policy. Now, bare minimum anywhere in Pollock Pines, I'm going to say you should expect about $5,000 to $6,000 in annual insurance premiums. And if you get $5,000 to $6,000, hey, you're doing pretty darn good. That's on the low end. It's fairly common to have it be in the $9,000 to $10,000 range for annual premiums in Pollock Pines. And if you're further out, places like Sierra Springs, and you're a larger custom home, more expensive home, I've seen policies upwards of $20,000 to $25,000 a year in annual insurance premiums for big luxury homes out there. So the sky is really the limit, unfortunately, as to what they'll charge you for insurance out here. So again, minimum expectation should be $5,000 to $6,000. Average expectation should be $9,000 to $10,000. And if you're buying a big luxury custom home, you should really be planning on $15,000 to $25,000 in annual insurance premiums. Now, of course, your annual insurance, if you have a loan on the property, is usually paid through an impound account as part of your mortgage payment, which means your mortgage payment is higher because of the cost of this insurance. Now, if you're playing around with online mortgage calculators and you're coming from some, normal suburban place, and that online mortgage calculator is factoring in $80, a month, $90 a month, $120 a month for fire insurance or for hazard insurance, you need to bump that way, way up based on the numbers I'm giving you to get an accurate mortgage payment. Otherwise, you'll have a little sticker shock when you get here to Dorado County. Again, this isn't just a Pollock Pines problem, but being up in the thick, dense pine trees, it is a little worse in Pollock Pines than other areas of the county. It's something you need to know before you decide whether Pollock Pines is right for your family. Hey, if at the end of this video you still aren't sure if Pollock Pines is right for you or where you want to land in the foothills, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below. Like I said earlier, I've been selling homes here for over 20 years now, and I've helped hundreds of families just like yours decide where to land in Dorado County, and I'm always happy to help. All right, now back to our list of 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines. Reason number 7 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines is there just aren't a lot of school options here. There's one elementary school, one junior high, and no high school. That's it. For high school, you're going down to Placerville and going to go to El Dorado High School. So if you are the type of family that likes to have a lot of educational options, Pollock Pines really isn't going to be the place for you. You've got your one local elementary, your one local junior high, and that's where you're going. Now, they are great schools. You can look at the scores, you can look at greatschools.org, and you can go visit the places and talk to the teachers. I personally know teachers that work at the middle school. A lifetime ago, I worked a lot at that middle school as a substitute teacher. I've been doing real estate over 20 years now, so this was a long time ago. But the middle school there is excellent, and the teachers are excellent, but that's it. It's the only game in town. It's your only option. We do in Dorado County have a pretty robust homeschool community and lots of options for you to have pods for easy for me to say, socialization for your homeschool kids. If you're into that sort of thing, you can make a pretty good go of homeschooling here. But if you're a Montessori family, if you're a Waldorf family, if you just want all kinds of different innovative educational options, then that just isn't there in Pollock Pines. It might not be the right fit for your family. You're gonna have to go all the way down to Placerville and even further possibly to Shingle Springs and El Dorado Hills before you get more innovative or diverse educational options for your family. So if varied educational options are a big deal for you and your family, then Pollock Pines might not be for you. Reason number 8 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines, California is the lack of public transportation. There really is no public transportation for the most part to speak of. Now, criticizing Pollock Pines for not having public transportation is like criticizing a Porsche 911 for having no back seat, right? It's kind of baked in. This is a rural mountain town. You can't expect it to have a robust public transportation system, just like you can't expect your sports car to have a great, big, comfy back seat for the kids. But it is something to know if you're coming from a community where you're used to accessing a really robust and extensive public transportation system and you don't need a car. That's just not a thing here. There's a couple of buses. Most of them are really focused on getting you down the hill to commute for work. There are some commuter van pools where you can meet at the park and ride and hop on a bus or a van and get down to Sacramento for work, but that's about it. You're not bopping around town using the bus system here, and you probably are never ever going to see a light rail system extended to Pollock Pines. So if public transportation and a lot of it is important to you and your family, or something you love about where you're coming from, then Pollock Pines might not be the right place for you. Reason number 9 you might not want to move to Pollock Pines, California is due to Tahoe traffic. Now look, traffic really isn't going to be a part of your life living out here in rural Northern California, and especially not in Pollock Pines, with a notable exception. In the summertime, if it's a peak camping weekend, a beautiful sunny weekend, then Friday night, you're gonna have traffic jamming up Highway 50 with people getting up to Tahoe, and Sunday afternoon, you're gonna have people jamming up the freeway with traffic going the opposite direction, heading west back to the Bay Area to go home. Now, Pollock Pines is accessed over the course of 3 different exits, really, but the main one is the Sly Park exit, and traffic can get backed up pretty good there as people are heading up to go camping in the summer. Now, even worse, in the wintertime, you've got the ski traffic, and that's very predictable. Almost every weekend in the winter, you're gonna have traffic as people come out of the Bay Area on Friday night to get up to Tahoe, and on Sunday as they come home to get ready for work on Monday. So that tourist type traffic is gonna be a part of your life living in Pollock Pines, and it's something you need to know. If a jam up at the exit for you to get off to go home at the peak traffic times when it's time for people to head up the mountain to go do their recreation, summer or winter, is gonna fry your noodle, then maybe living in Pollock Pines isn't right for you. Reason number 10, and the last reason on our list, is chain control. Okay, so we've talked about traffic, we've talked about snow. It just so happens that in most storms, bad enough storms for there to be chain control over the summit on Highway 50, that's Echo Summit on Highway 50, which is between Pollock Pines and Myers and South Lake Tahoe, the chain control for most of the big storms hits right at that Sly Park Road exit, which is your exit to get home. Now look, if you hit the CHP guys and you tell them, oh, I live in Pollock Pines, and you've got some decent looking tires on the car, they're gonna assume you know what you're doing, you know whether you can get in and out of your house, and they're gonna let you through, and they're not gonna make you pull over and put on chains to try to get home, particularly if you're in an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive. However, you are going to have to navigate through all of the Bay Area people on the side of the road with their brand new set of chains, trying to figure out what the heck to do with them. You've got the chain monkeys that they pay to put on their chains on the side of the road, doing their business. You got the CHP stopping people and telling them, hey, you have to pull over and get your chains on. over here, and it can just be an absolute mess. So even though they're going to let you through, and even though you live there and you know what you're doing, you still got to wade your way through that mess. And on a stormy night coming home from work, that can be a real pain in the backside. If that's something that's going to fry your noodle, if that's something that's going to really frustrate you, then it's something you need to know. That Slide Park exit is right about the chain control line, and you are going to run into that on stormy nights. And if that's going to bug you, then maybe Pollock Pines isn't right for your family. All right, that wraps up our discussion of the 10 reasons you might not want to move to Pollock Pines, California. Now, I think you could tell from my intro and the exuberance with which I talk about Pollock Pines that I actually think Pollock Pines is a really great place to live, and that it represents some of the best of what Northern California has to offer, and that it is everything that's great about Tahoe at half the price. So I sell a lot of homes in Pollock Pines, and I place a lot of families in Pollock Pines, and I think it's a great place to live. But every place has its downsides, and if there's a deal breaker on this list for your family, it's important to know up front so you can scratch Pollock Pines off your list. So to that end, I hope this video helped you decide whether Pollock Pines is right for your family or not. Now, if you'd like to do a deeper dive, you can click this video right here for my pros and cons of Pollock Pines, or you can click this video right here for the cost of living in Pollock Pines. Or if you'd just like to see the type of homes that are on offer in Pollock Pines, you can click this video right here to see what one of you, my YouTube clients, was able to get in Pollock Pines for just a little over $500,000. Either way, thanks for watching, thanks for making it to the end with me, and I'll see you on the next one.